So I think where we left off is that the significance and what can happen when you have this gratitude sharing amongst people who are your coworkers, and you allow yourself to get to know people in a level beyond just their role as marketing guy, programmer, manager. When you take off those hats and share as a human being, you allow one another to recognize, oh my gosh, we're not colleagues, we're human beings. We're brothers and sisters in the human family. And it allows you to feel the joy of another person and the fear of another person. And you feel so much more compassion. And what Plato said is that an army of lovers cannot be defeated. And while in this setting we're not physical lovers, and I'm not sure if that's even what he meant, but what does happen is you have a camaraderie, a family, a loving that cares about each other. And it makes you want to work harder, longer, makes you want to stand up for one another, it makes you want to not drop the ball, it makes you, not because you want to cover your ass, but because you want others to succeed, you want everyone's joy and happiness and contentment to just rise in addition to your own. It's not just protecting your family and your stuff, it's this oneness that is a powerful motivator. And it's not just a motivator like in a bottom line thing, it's a motivator in that it gives each individual a more of a sense of purpose in that job or in that role. It's easy to think of jobs and work as being like this evil necessity, but you got to do something. My grandpa would say that life is about work, worship, love, and play. Work, number one, not that they were in order, but it certainly is a huge amount of your time that's put into work, and so you want to find a way that your work is in alignment with your values, and hopefully with people that you can grow together and learn from. And so when you have this opportunity, when you take this time to connect with your colleagues, it changes your experience of work itself. Work becomes something that you do together instead of, like, it just changes the dynamic. And so that has been profound in our office the last few months, to the point that it's something that we bring up when we meet new partners, and it comes up in all sorts of meetings with people outside our company, and we invite people in. Every Friday we do the gratitude, and the response has been universally awesome. Like, no matter who you are or what you do, it's a great idea to take some time to be grateful, because we're all human beings, and we all get caught up in our stories, and we all get caught up in feeling like, we're doing too much, they're not doing enough, but if you can recalibrate your gratitude. So, all this leading up to last Friday, we had I went to New York for a couple meetings, and in one of the meetings, it was pretty much high-level execs all around the table. And we were big visionary stuff and budget stuff and this stuff and this stuff, and then there was this kind of delay as we were going to get some menus and order lunch. And during the delay, it was Friday, and I said, you know what, I was wondering, every Friday in our office, we do Goodness Friday, and we share our gratitude, and I was wondering if you guys would be up for going around the table and sharing some gratitude. And there was just a slight pause, and then everybody said, yeah, sure, yeah, okay. And so I said, they go, well, do we have to hold hands first? And I said, well, actually what we do is we take 3 breaths together. And so we did that. And then I started, and then my coworker, and then my manager, and there was a few pieces of this that I think are I'm trying to kind of make this all concrete so I can understand how this magic happens. And one of the things that I think is part of it is a willingness to be vulnerable. So one of the important things as we start the circle is role modeling vulnerability and establishing that it's okay to take off your armor. One of the huge challenges that we have in our day-to-day lives is that we're so afraid of being taken advantage of that we live in shades of armor. And so we never get to really roll around in all the good stuff because we're guarded in our interactions, in our in the office. And so that establishing kind of a, like, I'll lay down my arms first, I'll expose my jugular, I will share a little bit of vulnerability, knowing that if you wanted to, you could, charge me and attack me and club me with it, but having faith that you are a human being too, and you would much rather interact and have your world be about that. And so we went on the circle and everybody shared, and we learned about their families and kids and all these things that made this room full of very impressive, competent professionals working on a project turned into a room of big-hearted, huge potential family-loving entities, and it just became this richness of people. And I really feel like there was this sense of, like, it wasn't specifically verbally said, like, thank you, but I had this feeling like everyone was like, thank you. Like, I would love more of this kind of experience in my life, and how wonderful to be able to integrate this into my professional world instead of having to play the role of, professional thing. Within those, but instead letting myself be a human being and share my heart and learn about the heart of the people around me. That's the real gift, is that, oh my gosh, I'm not like work, and then go home where there's people that have glowing hearts and joy. It's work with people that also have glowing hearts and a bunch of joy. And so every part of your life can be sacred in that it, connected to the heart, connected to one another. And maybe that's a scary word to use. Maybe sacred means other things to other people. But for me, if I'm connecting with another human being, that is a beautiful, sacred thing. And that's the other part of it, is that it's an authentic moment. And we are so starved for authentic moments that when we given the opportunity to have one, I think it can be transformative. One of the huge things about Burning Man, I don't know if D-Love is in here, but he pointed out, I saw him yesterday, he said that one of the huge gifts of Burning Man is that you have these authentic moments. You have no commerce. You have no one's trying to manipulate you and you get to buy anything. And so when you interact with people, you have an authentic moment. And it's so rare. And it lets you see yourself and experience yourself and who you are in the world so differently that it's what can transform you. And so to kind of open the door for authentic moments, authenticity in the corporate world, it's risky and it's scary. And it can be transformative because it makes the path of your profession overlap with the path of you as a human being. As we talked about this in the office, about, how risky is this to bring up, in meetings and things? And we're like, well, who doesn't see themselves as a person who would like to continue to grow and be a better person, and who would like to work on projects that make the world a better place? If that doesn't describe you, then why are we struggling to do business with that person? Why would we want to be partners with anybody who doesn't see themselves in those ways? Now, the way that is activated into the world could be vastly different. I'm not defining the right way to be a better person or the right way to, but that desire of wanting to be a better person and make the world a better place should be kind of like the prerequisite. And so if we acknowledge that and we give people the permission to be that person, and we're vulnerable enough and we're authentic enough, it sets the stage, it sets a tone, it sets space for people to take off their armor and dance. Like, oh man, that armor was so heavy. It It was so restricting. Now that I can just flow, I can get in tune with some creative ideas that I was scared of before. I can get in touch with connections, or maybe offer a suggestion that I was scared of being like, look, we're all, and so that this vibe, this space, this sacredness is so expansive in how we experience coworkers, projects, work, life. And I'd like to think that it's possible in any line of work. That it's not, that any time you are sharing time and space with another human being, it can be beneficial to connect with them. That being said, if you're in this chat room or you're listening to this, you obviously know probably more about me than I know about you. And so if you have it in your heart to send me a sentence, a list, a little recognition of who you are and what you are, if you want to email that to me or Facebook it to me, john@hugnation.com. I would love to be able to love you deeper. I believe that I'm able to love you completely and wholly simply because you are a human being, and I have faith and know that what that dimension means. But if you have the time to share some of the details of your human journey, preferably the things that you're grateful for and not the complaints you have, more cone than crap with you, I would love to love you deeper. I would love to love you deeper. Maybe I'm going to t-shirts that say that. I would love to love you deeper. Or is that too obscene? Obscenity is in the crotch of the beholder. All right. Well, gosh, there's so much to this. One of the aspects of this idea of having authentic moments is that I think it takes some of the pressure away from the long-term results. You know what? Why don't we do this? We'll have a HugNation hug, and we'll talk about process versus outcome and direction, not distance, after the hug. So wherever you are, let's grab yourself by the shoulders. And just as we share hope and fear with everyone on the planet, we also share the physical experience of being a human being. And so we're grateful for a moment for this human experience, the sensations, and then deeper that, the thoughts that get funneled through our personality and our identities. And all of these experiences of the world, we recognize are filtered through a very human perspective of our memories and what we've been taught. And sometimes we can get very overwhelmed and confused and manipulated, and we might make a judgment based on something that we were taught or something that we believe that may or may not have anything to do with truth. And so we work on that throughout our lives, questioning our beliefs, especially the ones that cause us suffering, until we can chip away, dissolve, and let that truth within us shine, which isn't a statement. It is a vibration. It is an intention. It is a desire to connect. It is our loving hearts. And so we let that heart shine in this moment, feeling all of the shells of our personality and memories fade away until we are simply timeless, eternal light shining. And we recognize that all those hearing this message have these shining, perfect hearts. And everyone we meet has these shining, perfect hearts. And no matter what we experience them doing in the world, We might have frustration with decisions they make, but know that actions, if they're at odds with what we want, that's all happening on the level of thought and mind. And that if you could strip that all away, it would simply be vibrant beams of God light shining throughout all of us. I say through us. And as we learn to experience that in ourselves, we can experience it in others. As we allow it to shine, it guides us. So let's take 3 breaths together, just letting that light get brighter and brighter and brighter until we are just pure light. In through the nose. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all the love warriors, happy HugNation. Thank you for being you, for shining your light, for following your heart. I love who you are and who you're becoming. Thank you. Namaste.